All right. Guilty as charged. Guilty as charged. Thank you, Holly. Now, today we need to start out. I got to check in with all of you, okay? And if you are on virtual, you play along too, okay? You've got fingers. We're going to ask you to use them. Not the middle one, but other ones, all right? Oops. Now, I want you to rate yourself from 1 to 5, all right? 1 would be awful, 2 above awful, 3 average, 4 above average, and 5 awesome, okay? Everybody, speakers as well as our fabulous meeting planners here, I want you to answer the question, where do you feel your business will be in 6 months? 1 through 5. Be totally honest. Ooh, I've got lots of 5s. Oh, somebody's got a 6 back there. Ha ha. He speaks on positivity. Awesome. That's great. You guys, most of the folks in the room, I saw very few 3s and mostly 4s and 5s. Does that give you hope about where we are right now? If in we've lived through 6 months right now of a little ambiguity, just a tiny bit. And now 6 months out, we're all saying we'll be at 4 and 5. Exactly. Because we are good folks engaged in what we do, right? This is participation, right? Thank you. Woohoo! All right, you're in for it. Good deal, good deal. So I always want to check in, whether we're live or virtual, because connection always comes before content. Nobody wants to hear what you have to say until they know you care. Let that sink in. True? Ooh, I've got head nodders. I love you. Are you nodding your head, virtual folks? Uh-huh. Good job. We see you on the screen, remember? Yeah. This morning, I want to give you a snapshot of what our lives look like in the start of 2020, okay? And you're going to physically participate in this. No aerobics, but a little bit of moving, okay? Awesome. Feel the pressure? Yeah. Okay. So I want to give us a snapshot of where we were with the Employee Engagement Index. I am an addict of anything Gallup produces. Since 2000, they've been polling internationally, groups across industries, sectors, sizes, geographic, everywhere. And they've always come up with a number for the Employee Engagement Index. And in 2020, 20 years since they started taking it, this is what our world looked like, okay? Now, in front of you, you've got a little playing card, okay? And based upon what suit you have, I'm going to ask you to stand up. Because I can say a statistic and you write it down and, oh, that makes great notes. But when you stand up and you see it, the statistic makes much more sense, okay? So if you happen to have a heart, there's 3 different groups, okay? If you happen to have a heart, would you please stand up? A heart on your card. Ooh. Now, what you got is no reflection on you. This is totally random, okay? So no, we're not putting any names on you. Oh, stay standing. You'll want to own this. Those people that are standing up, you are our hearts. You are our engaged workers. You feel the vibrancy of your organization. You are psychologically invested in your organization. You are the folks that not only do you do your job great, you help other people do their job great. That's who you are. Woohoo! You're the rock stars. You represent, in the early 2020, 26% of our workers were rock stars. That's just a little above 1 in every 4. Okay, have a seat. Awesome hearts. Shoo, you got a good group. Okay, if you happen to have a spade, would you please stand up? Everybody's waving at one another. Fabulous. All right, if you happen to have a spade, you represent the disengaged workers, okay? You all have psychologically checked out. You show up to work and you do work, but you do no more than just the basics, okay? You check the boxes. And if work starts at 8 a.m., you're walking in the door at 8 a.m., okay? And we quit at 5, at about 4:50, you're shutting down. You're ready to out the door at 5. That's what you look like at work. Those of you standing, in early 2020, our disengaged workers represented 56% of our workforce. The majority disengaged. So have a seat. So 26 for the engaged, disengaged was 56. Now, my last, folks. If you got a little pointy diamond, stand up. Oh, you all are smiling like, yeah. We have 18% of the people in this room standing up, okay? 18%. You are the actively disengaged. And she's happy about it. Now, I share that with you. You're actively disengaged. And I don't mean to be rude, but these people show up just to piss you off. They have great joy in just causing a havoc at work. That is why they're there. Yeah. You are really liking this a lot. Have a seat, my fabulous disengaged folks. So that is what it looked like at the start of 2020. And a lot of my work is based upon the data that we find that Gallup does with the Employee Engagement Index, because it's a great spotlight, if you will, on what's happening in the world. And there's things that have happened in the last 6 months that are amazing. If you want to chat about those, I could chat with you about that at lunchtime. Really amazing stuff. But that's where we were. This morning, we only have 12 minutes together, so I'm going to share with you 2 things that I most often include in my leadership and engagement programs. I'm totally interactive, just like we did here, and whether you're virtual too, y'all play along. Hello, everybody. But I always include some pieces of stories, of case studies, and the goal is always that not only do you learn something, but that you meet at least one person. So when you're at the hallway of the event, that meeting means more than just your notes. It's a connection. That's why we have meetings. And in the virtual world, we do that in a breakout room. There's robust conversations. 6 months ago, I had never done, let alone a PowerPoint virtual. We're hosting 2-day events online, and people are liking it. Imagine. It can work. And we can talk about that at lunch, too. Sorry, I'm going on a tangent. Woohoo! But let me share you 2 little things that I often share. People have 4 basic needs. We want to have trust, support, stability, and compassion. Okay? Those we lead at work, those are the core 4 things that they need. Okay? And of all those pieces, during our pandemic, the focus on hope more than anything has become very apparent. And I want to share with you a little story. A member of my family suffered from severe back injury and went down a really dark path, became severely addicted to opioids. And when you are weighing 95 pounds on your heaviest of days, wearing narcotic patches is pretty scary, okay? After a lot of struggle and conversation, we finally had that person commit to going and getting some help. And she was accepted into the Mayo Clinic's Cognitive Rehabilitation Treatment Center. For 4 weeks, she would go through this intense training where you learn to live with pain by your own means without any kind of intervention. And on Friday, it was family day. So we would drive up and we would go and learn how to help our family member when they came back. And the last Friday, we were all sitting in this big room, or square conference table. And our little spunky facilitator, who was wicked smart, every Friday, she said, I want you all to tell me what you are going to do when your loved one comes home. What will you do to support that person? And one by one, we all shared. We all went around the table. And pretty much everybody said, we'll sit down with them. We'll hug them. We'll tell them we love them. We'll look them in the eye, and then we'll say, how are you feeling? Just so they know they're supportive. Every single person said that. When they were all done, our little facilitator took a step closer, and she said, if you do that, you will send your loved one right back to addiction. Goodbye, halo. She said, when you ask somebody how you're doing, you invite them to just become self-absorbed. You invite them to find the pain, the biggest feeling they have. What your loved one, what people need more than that, is something to be hopeful for. She said, instead of asking, how are you feeling, ask, what are you looking forward to? What do you think we should do next month? Where should we go? Anything about something outside gives hope and creates excitement and gives you a dose of oxytocin that comes naturally. You give them a high. What can we do with some people right now in our lives, in our own families or those we work with, who seem to be struggling with a little hope? Maybe have that conversation about, what are you looking forward to? We all need hope. Another piece, another need we have is that compassion. And I say it differently when I share a thing I call the Leadership Starter Kit. Instead, I call it, shut up. Stop trying to be interesting and be interested. So often, particularly like new leaders, somebody who's been promoted to take on a new team, they start thinking, oh my gosh, what should I do? Who should I meet? Who should I sit by? What should we talk about? How can I make a mark? How can I make a real difference? But that's all about them. And instead, if they flip that to the other side and say, let me find out more about them. So I challenge all of those new hires, those new recruits to a leadership role, to ask them, come up with 4 to 5 basic how and what questions that you have in your toolkit. And what I mean by that is, if I ask you, this or that, and it's a one-answer response, that doesn't get to the core of what somebody is. If I ask you, well, how did you come up with that idea? And I just shut up and let you talk, I will learn all about what you think. It's not me, it's you. That's compassion. So a little bit of hope and a little bit of compassion. At the core of everything we do, we want to engage people. The little slide on the screen, that's what I think engagement looks like. That little girl, if she's at work as a grown woman now and she's loving her job, she's in that 26%, yay! She's thinking, I like it here, and she's probably looking at her coworker and saying, and I really like working with you. That's the goal. When we break it all down, it's pretty simple. Letting people be heard, giving them hope. My name is Patty Hendrickson, and the best way you can use me is I like to speak for 90 minutes as an opening keynoter, and that's all about engagement. We set the tone. But when I'm finished in that segment of that 90 minutes, the individuals who are part of that program, whether it's live or virtual, will have ways that they'll reconnect with other people that they met, whether it was a round table or a breakout room. So the conversation keeps happening. And when it's all done, they have seeds planted for something to follow up with somebody that they engage with. Learning happens everywhere, but learning is bigger when we do it together. Pleasure to be here. Thank you for coming.